Very good evening to everybody. I'm Stephanie, a freshman from St. Richardson College. And first, I will introduce you to our committee, the College Spirit and Service Committee. We are a group of enthusiastic NSRs who want to make positive impact on the college culture around the campus under the guidance of our amazing project leader, Tyler. So, during the last semester, we've been working on exploring different ways that colleges maintain their traditions and reputations, engage new students with OE activities, as well as how do they promote services within their respective college. So during the rest of our presentation, we will try to propose some creative and feasible practices by some colleges that can potentially be shared among all of us. In this way, we can develop a better understanding and appreciation towards each other's culture. Furthermore, after interviewing many college leaders as well as many new students, we have realized that there is indeed a huge need for improvement in many of the practices we are currently implementing. Therefore, even after this project, we will still continue striving for change and realization of our suggestions so that our unique residential college system can bring a more amazing life experiences to the new grad students in the future. Yeah, now I'll pass the time to David, who will talk about methodology of our project.
This one, all right. Right here. Okay, so our methodology is divided into 3 sections. 1 is data compilation, 2 is the organization of the data we compiled, and 3 is the determination of the best practices themselves. So we began data compilation by dividing the 11 residential colleges between the 7 NSRs. So what we did is that we interviewed 4 particular people, not people, but sections of people, if that makes sense, classifications. So we interviewed the college government leaders in order to assess the role of student leadership, in fostering spirit and service at the residential college level. We also interviewed OE coordinators because they're the ones who facilitate the transition from new student excitement for college in general to spirit for Rice and to their residential college respectively. We also interviewed committee heads, whether it's a spirit head committee, service, or any derivation of. What these people do is that they hold certain events that promote both spirit and service, and these are these are essential, rather, to our project. And lastly, we interviewed new students in order to assess the efficiency and effectiveness of OE and post-OE efforts. Regarding the data organization, we organized our data into 3 subsections as well. We have spirit and culture, which is pretty much the reputation and overall culture of the residential college itself. We have tradition, which are the events that are commonly known and hosted at each college. And we have service, which is both inter-college spirit, inter-college service, as well as outreach to the community area. And we determined best practices by holding several discussion sessions. And we just found trends amongst the data we had. And we isolated some really cool ideas from each college that could be feasibly implemented in each different residential college as well.
We found that every residential college found a way of promoting this idea of being part of the community, whether this was as part of a family or as part of a team. And one effective way that colleges could develop a strong sense of pride was by having a rivalry against another college. While having these strong connections within our college and having a strong sense of pride was a very positive aspect of life at Rice, we have found that can potentially lead to insular cultures, and sometimes people from a particular college may spend a lot of time with people in their colleges, even when they're at campus-wide events. We noticed that architecture plays a significant factor in the culture of the college. Some colleges have 4 cultures, and in these situations, some students may even have as much pride for their particular floor as they would for their entire college. architectural features like a quad or another public space enables groups of people to mingle who may not otherwise be able to. But on the flip side, some aspects of the architecture did segregate parts of a college and contributed to an additional division within the colleges. As an additional division within a college, off-campus students were generally less involved, but we did find that there was no clear divide, according to the students whom we contacted. There was not a clear divide between the drinkers and the non-drinkers at a college. There are a number of events at the colleges that were really crucial to establishing this sense of pride. One of these was a day that celebrated the founding of a particular college. Many colleges offered trips to ice skating rinks. There were spontaneous events that took place in public locations, such as in the quad on Friday afternoon. New students have the opportunity to go on camping trips to better know other new students within that college. For colleges that have a floor culture, there are floor Olympics, which I believe are highly competitive. Some colleges have theatre productions, and most colleges have some sort of dodgeball against other colleges.
Alright, so more results. We found that during O Week, O Week obviously is one of the biggest activities that fosters student pride in their college. We found that certain activities did this better than others, like cheer battle, for example. It's the first time students really get a chance to see students from other colleges, and this very emphatic, expressive competition really fosters pride in their own college. Some colleges had matriculation ceremonies that were very college-specific. So, for example, everyone went to the overall Rice matriculation, which was mandatory. Other colleges had something like spiritual dungeon, and Martell had very specific matriculation into their own colleges, like ceremonies for that. Most OE groups participated in a scavenger hunt of some sort. They were into a special late night. They participated in a special late night obstacle course-like activity that also really united members of the college. During O Week, they also tried to introduce new students to campus-wide traditions. For example, most colleges had some sort of mock beer bike, like tea tripe or Jello scoop, which obviously they got painted up for those type of things. And more yelling and more cheers, so that fostered pride in their college. On Friday, most OE groups went out to either Galveston or they went out into Houston for a Houston night out, and OE groups tried to help introduce students to college life by taking them out at late night food. Most colleges have two types of service, freshman service and outreach service. Freshman service is essentially where the freshmen do some sort of community service for their college that works towards keeping them on campus or having them do better in room jack, or both. And outreach service is community service. What we found was that outreach days, like specific college outreach days, were much more successful than outreach events. Or not outreach events, but like individual activities. And we found that it would be very helpful if the advertisement for service were improved.
Okay, so moving forward, we figured that it would be kind of tricky to decide like one specific best practice for how to promote service, because each college is so proud of its uniqueness. But in general, I think there's no doubt that spirit is highest during O Week and right after O Week. And in order to continue this spirit throughout a college, it's imperative that O Week events continue happening throughout the year. But we've heard from a couple different people that we interviewed that there's this sense of isolation from other O-Week groups, both during O-Week and with the continuation of O-Week lunches and O-Week get-togethers going off campus. So we think that it would be a great idea to mix up O-Week groups somehow, just kind of forcibly get people around other people that they hadn't been around for a full 7 days during O-Week. Additionally, rivalries between colleges. I mean, everybody knows how that goes. It's a really big promoter of spirit. So a pretty unique thing about McMurtry and Will Rice is this sister college bond that they have because of what occurred during the construction process. And there's a really cool thing that happens when there's a sister bond between two colleges. They're able to get together for like bingo nights and other events and mixers. And we think it's a really great way for students to get to meet each other so they don't feel so isolated into the college. So we already mentioned matriculation events. Again, it's the idea of maybe having a pin that represents your college that you get on your special matriculation or a sash that you get during your matriculation that you're able to wear when you graduate. It's just something really unique to each college that instills in its students a really good sense of pride in their college. So there's something called Camp Baker that happens during O-Week as well, which kind of gives the students insight into the traditions that are to come. And I think getting a preview, but not getting the full thing, really excites students or events that are to come. So we're suggesting something similar maybe to happen in each college during O-Week. So general suggestions that we have, each college tends to have a really unique space. So the newer colleges have a 5th floor that's open. Some other colleges have sun decks and things like that. And if colleges are able to really utilize these unique spaces they have and host get-togethers, mixers between new students and upperclassmen, things of that sort, we feel it'd be a good way to utilize both the architecture and the fact that new students would get to interact with each other. Yeah.
So in terms of service, we have 2 types of service generally. There's service within the college and service outside the college, which would be like outreach to the Houston community. And so in general, we find that for both service within the college and outside the college, we need more incentive for students to serve, and students also need to be better informed because in a lot of cases, sometimes students find that they would attend service events, but they just didn't know about it. And we find that college rivalries really promote college spirit, which in turn would promote spirit and service and a sense of belonging. So one idea we had for service outside colleges was we could maybe assign a Houston agency to each of the 11 residential colleges, and each college could compete against each other and see, maybe like who can raise the most money, who can get the most freshmen involved, or like, who can dedicate the most hours. And then having that rivalry can really promote both service as a whole, for Rice as a whole, and service for each individual student. And we find that regular service will promote culture and belonging at the college, and students will feel more involved.
The residential college system at Rice offers one of the best and unique undergraduate experiences possible. However, like any other system, room for improvement does exist, particularly in the area of intra-college interaction. Division within a college weakens overall college unity and college spirit. While each college faces its challenges in its own unique and distinct ways, we believe there are overall suggestions that each college could implement. Colleges should focus on highly structured events that are intended to increase interaction with the student body. Structure is essential, as less organized events tends to lead people to congregate in preordained social groups instead of meeting new people. As Rice continues to expand and grow in both student body and reputation, it's essential that Rice maintains a strong sense of community. The residential college system strongly aids in this process, but is only one, albeit crucial, step. By implementing practices aimed at decreasing social barriers and disintegrating social barriers between people, then overall college unity and college spirit not only increases a sense of belonging and pride in one's college, not only increases, but a sense of belonging and pride in Rice as a whole. It's the strong sense of pride in Rice that makes Rice such a unique and special school, as well as home to one of the happiest student bodies in the nation.